Alright, so one of the lights on my Razer has gone out. Let me focus the camera here. Now, lighting in here isn't as good as it could be, but if you'll notice, all of these keys are generally fine, but this one has gone out. I've previously tried to fix it. I thought it was a weak solder joint, but it was actually a dead LED. I've recently ordered some replacement LEDs, and I'm going to install a new one. And while I'm doing that, I am going to change a couple other LEDs to white, mainly the WASD and possibly the arrow keys in 8, 4, 2, and 6. So give it a little bit of color. So first thing I'm going to do is unplug it, because I'm going to be leaving my computer on. And while I take apart the keyboard, I am going to let my soldering iron heat up. Now, this keyboard is generally kind of a pain in the ass to take apart. I've already taken it apart once, but I'm going to try and walk you guys through it as best as I can. First thing you're going to want is a flathead screwdriver. Well, actually, the first thing you're going to want is a Phillips screwdriver. And that is for kind of hard to pull out. It is for all the screws that are underneath the pads. Now, you have multiple pads. You have this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and there's also 2 screws underneath these little plastic tabs. So I'm going to take out these tabs. So that one. And there is that one. Now, to take off all of the sticky, don't worry about these, they stick right back on. Go ahead and give them a little tug, but try and keep the stickiness in the same shape. Don't try and distort it too much. As you can see, I've already done that a little with this one. It's kind of, well, the color's off. This one actually does not have a screw. You're welcome to keep this one on. This is simply for actually grip. The other ones, though, you are going to want to do. So now that I have all those off, you are going to want to unscrew all the screws. Now, one thing to keep in mind is this keyboard is glued. Now, this is the Razer BlackWidow Ultimate. I believe it is the first one. It has the blue lights instead of green. So I had to pry at mine a little, and because of that, parts of the casing snapped underneath. It's entirely not noticeable. It's mainly snapped here, here, and in the same place as over here, here. So if you don't mind doing that, you're welcome to snap your keyboard, but those points a little higher than those points actually are where the plastic holders, whatever they're called, are that are keeping them in. So now that we have all the screws off, we are going to switch the flathead, or you can use some sort of shimmy, plastic guitar pick, whatever you have handy that's thin and relatively hard, because you are going to have to pry and you are going to have to apply force. Now I am just working my way in. Now that's where that broke before. Let's not do that again. Let's do the corner first. Corner's easy. Now this was easier the first time around. Alright, so now that's done. I'm going to work my way around, prying it up. So, the first one is this one. Now, the point here is, you just heard that, I am sure. That noise was me getting that out. That's how much force it took. Now, I'll show you over here. If you see this crack, that's right there. That is right above where that lock is. So right there is unfortunately where that lock is. Now this side I didn't have to do last time. I did not have to pry at it last time because I had already done everything else, and because of these slots here you want to pull it out, so you actually don't need to do this one. You're going to be working on all the other ones in order to get that out. Now here comes the second one. Again, a little force is needed. Now with that, with those two out, I'm mostly able to just apply a little force to it in a certain direction, and that will pop it out. Now you're going to want to be careful when you're doing this part, because inside you have an LED right here, and that shines where you have the Razer logo. So if you care at all about the logo, which is entirely your choice, then you're going to want to be careful here. And with that, I have taken off the top, and I am going to just set this aside. Now with the top off, we have the inside of our keyboard, mostly. Now I'm going to, you're going to want to switch back to the Phillips screwdriver. And you have multiple screws. You have one here, 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 and here, and one there as well. So yeah. Actually, before I pop those out, I am going to pop out a few keys that I'm going to be replacing the LEDs for. So I'll need to be able to get to the LEDs, and you'll see why in a second. I have two wires I've put together here as a key prior. If you actually have a key prior, use that. If not, you can buy them on Amazon for just a couple bucks, or you can do what I did and make a little prior. Business card works well, credit card, even a X-Acto knife. Just make sure not to actually harm the key. So my question mark key is, the LED on that is dead. I am also going to be replacing several other keys, but I'm going to be doing those later because once you see the first LED, the rest of them is the same process. So I'm just probably going to be including one of them in this video. So let's get to unscrewing the rest of this. Now the good thing about this keyboard is all of the screws are the same size, so you don't need to worry about storing certain ones in certain places so that you can keep track of them. Just so long as you can keep track of all of them and remember where they went. Last time I put everything back together, I used all the screws, which I'm sure if you've done this sort of thing before, that can happen. You always have something left over. No matter what you're putting back together, there's always something left over, and it always works fine after that. So, yeah, just it's up to you. Personally, I want to keep my stuff as I found it. I'm just repairing this mainly. While I'm in here, I am changing it up a little, make it a little more dynamic. I forgot there's also 2 screws here you're going to want to take care of. This is just so it's just for the power cord, USB cord, whatever. Yeah, the screw got down there. I'll get that in a minute. So take that part off, and now, if I am not mistaken, I should be able to lift this up. It does indeed come up. Pop this as well. This is holding this LED in. Try not to bend that like I just did. You want that to stay as straight as you can. Now, this is what I was mentioning earlier. You're going to want to pry these out. Not pry, I'm sorry, that's the wrong word. Wiggle. You're going to want to wiggle these out. And these would be the side ports. Now, as you lift it, there's going to be this guy. You're going to just pop that out, and there you go. And there is my leftover screw. Now I am, like I did before, going to set this aside. And now I am going to flip this guy over. Now, you want to keep track of where this is, the key you are working on. So I know it is third up, or no, third to the left and up, or you can just keep track of it by sight. Either one works fine, just keep track of it. So for me, that is going to be right here. Now, like I said, I previously tried to fix this, as you can see, via that wire. It didn't work. I accidentally burned the pad off because my soldering iron runs hot. It is a Radio Shack brand, which is actually a Hakko, if I remember correctly. So it definitely runs a little hot. Just keep that in mind when you're working on it. If you end up getting one of these, they are relatively cheap, so if you want to, I would recommend it, but just keep that in mind. So I'm going to reposition the camera, and you guys will be able to see what I'm doing down here. Alright, now as you can see, I have zoomed the camera in. You should be able to see that joint a lot clearer now. First thing we are going to want to do is tin our iron. So just add a little tin to it, just a tad, and this is actually relatively oxidized already, so I can blame that on the heat of this iron like I just mentioned. So there we go. Now I am going to be using solder wick to remove this joint. Now I have a little solder on the iron already to kind of speed up the process just a tad. So if you've ever done this before, you know what's going on there. Now I should be able to move that. Now you can see I just tore that away. That doesn't matter because this is already broken and I am simply replacing the LED. So I'm going to make sure that this is movable. Not quite. Now, I don't know if you just noticed that, but it looks like the pad is, unfortunately, starting to loosen. Now, you probably won't be able to see this very well, but I am going to remove this LED now, or attempt to, at least. Well, I don't know where I left you at. It looks like my camera cut out. So I am just refocusing it there. And move that. Now I'm going to backtrack a little. I'll cut out what I re-say. I did this wrong. If you can see this, the pad is now missing. There's only one spoke on the LED. I did not desolder it correctly. Now, something else to note, these LEDs are 3mm, but you'll also notice it does not have a rim on it. So I don't know if the LEDs I got are even going to work with this. We'll see. So unfortunately what this means, since it turned out this way, is I'm not only going to have to do what I did here and have this connect the I don't know which is positive or negative anymore. Going to have this connect to there, but I'm also going to have another one have to connect to another one. It's yeah. It's either this or buy another keyboard for, well, what do these things cost? 100 and some odd bucks. No thank you. So yeah. So now I'm going to flip this over and remove that spoke. Try to remove that spoke. That's in perfect. And now that that's in, I am just going to bend the leads so that I can solder to it. Now, I already have a wire here that is going to be going over to this one. Now remember, I broke mine. And to fix it, you can just do what I'm doing here. Now, I'm going to be doing another one. So basically your negative is on the right, your positive is on there. So I'm going to be using black, which I believe is universal for negative. On the left, got a little box of wires here and some wire cutters I'm going to be using. So there's a big chunk of wire, probably a little too big. Now, first thing is I'm going to be connecting both of these. I mean, it's either that or I can go all the way over to this one. Well, yeah, I'll go all the way over to that one. That one seems a little safer, actually. So this is 22 gauge wire, so I am just going to strip that end and then strip some on the other end. And once that's stripped, we have two nice little wire leads. Now, once this is cut, it's actually going to end up right there. I'll be cutting it again once I have this end soldered. So, actually, let's get to soldering it. Our two leads. So let me just clean my tip here, apply some solder to it, and then just get it really nice and clean there. Now, I have had my solder sitting on this entire time, so it's already heated up. So that's good. Now, I don't know if you saw what I did. It's a little cheat to getting wires to connect. Just apply a little and then heat it up so it really is just a cheat. Now we don't want it that high, so I'm going to move this down here. Ugly, ugly solder right there. Ugly, Uglington. That's really a crappy joint, but it will, unfortunately, work perfectly fine for our uses. So, you know, I do not like this joint. Wire joints are such a pain in the ass. I mean, really, why can't these things be easier? And part of it is, this is one of my first times soldering. I'm relatively new to this. So, obviously there will be mistakes along the way. As I'm sure you've come to see with every single mistake I have made in this video. This is full of mistakes. This is an example of mistakes. It's terrible. absolutely terrible. So this time I'm going to just create a little loop on this wire before I put it down. That kind of bugged me last time. That's not what we want. That was pretty bad. So cut off the end here, and I am going to re-strip this wire here and do a little more because of the loop. So alright, now that my loop is done, there it is. See if I can get this to lay flat. That's probably as good as we're gonna get. Actually, that's pretty good. So let's try and solder this again. Again and again and again. Gotta love these headsets. They'll randomly turn off in the middle of doing things. It's rather lovely, actually. If you can't tell, I'm being entirely sarcastic. Now, I got this joint on alright. So give me a minute. Alright, this joint's on pretty good, if I do say so myself, and I do say so myself. Nobody else is saying it for me. So, first thing we're going to do is we are going to be connecting to this far one right here, if you can see that. So we want to make this curved so we avoid that one. So what I am going to do is literally curve this wire like that. So we have that. Now I am going to strip there and I am going to cut there. So it'd be easier to cut with these. So I'm going to cut right there so that that cannot meet there. And I am going to strip these on 22. Yeah. There we go. Alright. There is our wire. Straighten that out just a tad. And we're going to have a little trouble there when we go to let's focus on the new joint here. There we go. Alright. Now, going to bend this down just a little. Still not down enough. A little more. There we go. It's probably as good as I'm going to get. Now, again, tin the tip. And this should be about the same. So, you want to feed under. Don't want to do that. And it doesn't look like it's going to move, however, that looks better. Now, that that's done, we can finally come in and trim the leads off of our new LED. And let's see about getting that little guy there too. Aha! And with this, we should be set. So, to give it a test, I am going to hook those two wires up again that I had on. And we are going to test out this LED. Actually, for this one, I'm just going to plug the sucker in. So, our new one, if you can't tell, let me reposition the camera. Alright. If you, for some reason or another, cannot tell which one it is, assuming this camera lets me refocus it. It doesn't seem to want to. Let me put it on manual here. There we go. Alright, God, my keyboard's dirty. Okay, the clear one is the new LED, if you cannot tell. So, I am going to plug that in, and it works. All the LEDs are lighting up. Nothing is completely broken. So, unplug it. And with that, we can start to reassemble it. Now, as you can see, once I focus here. That is working again, as are all the other keys. The single key is out now. Everything is working as it should. And the buttons work on Windows as well. So if I open up Notepad Plus here, hopefully you can see that. This focus right there. The main key I am worried about is this key, which still works fine, as do the other ones I took out, and the shift. So, all the keys work fine, the connection is great, and that is how you repair the LED on a Razer BlackWidow Ultimate Edition. Anyways, I hope this was useful, and have a good day.